So we're going to do wrist tape job. This time we're trying to prevent the hyperextension movement that a lot of athletes experience. This is an adhesive spray just to help our tape job stay in position. You just always want to check with your athletes, make sure they're not allergic to anything. The position that we're going to tape, we start with our anchor, so we got to make sure the hand is wide open. You don't want to restrict the movement in through the metacarpals. So we'll do one anchor around the hand here. Whenever we're doing tape jobs, I always try to keep your ends on the outside of the body. So for a wrist, you want to make sure your ends land on the outside of the hand. We're going to then do 3 anchors on the wrist or on the forearm. So this is where our fan is going to attach to. So when you're doing your anchors, they don't need to be super tight. They're there just to help our tape landmark. So they have a starting and an ending position. They just need to be flat with consistent pressure all the way around, and don't need to be, they shouldn't be restricting that muscle whatsoever. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a fan from our distal anchor up to the proximal anchor, and this is the fan that's going to restrict the extension. So depending on the injury, you can restrict to varying degrees. I fan out the tape here just to get a broader attachment. It tends to hold a little bit better if you fan out the ends. You're going to anchor down distally first, and then we're going to check and see how much restriction the athlete needs, and we can make adjustments based on that. So nice wide through the hand, create that anchor. Okay, again, ending on the outside of the hand. And then from here, you can adjust the fan and pull it as tight as you need to. Then we're going to ask the athlete to go back into extension, extend it as far as you can. It's a little bit loose. We want to restrict a little bit more range of motion. So we're going to pull them into a slight amount of flexion, then lay it down again. Now we'll check it once more, go into extension. That looks better. She's got a reasonable amount of extension, but it's not going into the painful range. So that's what we really want to limit. So then we're going to go back here, anchor the fan with our 3 anchors. Again, this part doesn't need to be tight. You're just holding that fan in position. Okay. Some people, depending on the sport, will like it connected. This will prevent you from going back too far in extension. Some like a little more support also around the base of the carpals and the radial ulnar joint. So if you want to include some support here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do an anchor through the hand, okay? And then when you come through, you're going to do almost a figure 8 that goes through the hand and then once around the wrist, okay? And then come back and always end on the back of the palm, okay? And then that, you can do that a few times depending on how much support they want at the radial ulnar carpal joint, okay? And that is a wrist tape job, preventing too much excessive extension.